All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on the part of the country that you are watching me from. Um, I am again back to discuss about the implications and the affairs of the Nigerian government prior to the 2023 election that is coming. So yesterday, even after many agitations, many protests demanding for real-time electronic transmission of electoral results in Nigeria by the Senate and House of Reps members. And after all the protests, they even among themselves, among the senators, there were some divisions. Among the House of Reps members, there were also divisions. But regardless of all this, then you now come outside the House of Assembly, you see the citizens, the masses protesting. But in all this, we saw that yesterday, the President of Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, signed into law the Electoral Act Amendment as 2026. And in what he signed, or in what he signed in, was what contained that there could be electronic transmission of results, but in situations whereby network fails, that they should not go manually. Now, that is the problem the masses are having. So we are like thinking, okay, maybe President Tinubu might say, okay, send back the senators and the House of Reps members because after the plenary some days ago, there were so many discrepancies, so they have to bring representatives. They call them harmonizing team, or rather harmonizing committee. That's some members of the Senate and some members of the House of Reps, that they would come together and then know how to align with the demand of the people, which says real-time transmission of electronic results, to transfer them in real time. So, but unfortunately, we didn't get that from them. And yesterday, our President Bola Tinubu, signed it, that in a situation whereby electronic transmission fails, that the collation officers or the presiding officers should do it in the normal way, in the manual way of using form paper to fill them. So, and the fear of the people has always been that in the process of trying to fill those things, that there could be mutilation of result. So yesterday, we were like, okay, maybe the president might not sign this into law. Let's maybe Mr. President go ahead order and just make amendment, change it, make it real-time transmission. Coming to the record of network coverage in Nigeria, at least they scored over 90% network coverage in the entire federation. So now there's nothing that stops the country to, and again, not even that you have to vote online. No, not even online voting. So if it was online voting, then people may say network could be the problem. But this is just after voting, snap it, stay there and send it. So there's no problem in that. So just Just after voting, stay there, snap it, send. That was only the demand. So we are not practicing online voting. So there should be no reason not to make it total transmission. There was nothing hard in it. There was nothing hard. So we are like expecting the government to say, okay, all right, let's go back. Let the lawmakers go back, sit together, discuss this. They should know that we're not voting it online. If people vote, just only snap it and send. Anything you are uploading, when network comes, it will download. That's simple. That's simple. So, but for them to be arguing that there are no network or there could be no network, therefore, the solution to that is to do it manually. And we so much believe that the corrupt politicians must use this loophole they just created. They must still use this loophole to jeopardize the rest of the process. You will see in a situation whereby they will come to some particular areas where they think that they are losing election, they are losing ground. They will now declare that such places have no network, so that their counterparts or their oppositions will not lose. But in areas they will be winning, they will say, yes, there are network free. So it's all those things that the masses, the Nigerian masses, the citizens are trying so hard to correct. But it's quite unfortunate that as we all saw yesterday, the president, regardless of the people's agitations, regardless of people's cry, he still signed into law the Electoral Act Amendment. And again, if we don't get our processes right, the possibility or the chances of we Nigerians getting the right persons are very hard. It's very, very hard, because the leaders, they'll try to tighten every angle, every chances of them losing elections. They'll try to narrow it, make opposition suffer more. And they know that if there could be free, fair, and credible elections, most of them won't return to offices after the coming election. So we are so much suspecting and we are so much uncomfortable that allowing any manual process in this election can jeopardize the every process and the effort of the genuine citizens. And Nigeria, whether you like it or not, we are big. We are much in number. And the level of people who are not employed are many. So most of them are so vulnerable that even when you give them little thing, they can deviate from their own belief. They can deviate from the right thing they know that they should do. So they already know that they are going to weaponize poverty, and then once they have created such loopholes, once they have just made something so confusing and then give people little money to do whatever they want to do, definitely they will. Because we are so much suspecting and we are so much uncomfortable that during elections that they are going to make sure that major places of their oppositions do not have network. They are going to do that. And that's the fear of the people. That even if they have removed any option of manual process in our election processes, then most of our politicians will sit up. But they will not sit up because they already know, they have already made another provision that will give them a room to rig. They have already made another provision by allowing a manual collation. But sometimes it seems like some of these our leaders, they don't even reason. That's, you may be thinking that they're just willingly doing the wrong thing, but sometimes it seems like they can't even comprehend or they can't even understand the normal process, because there's nothing hard in it. After voting, just snap whatever. We all take pictures. We all, or rather, most of us make use of social media. If I should upload my Facebook account or on YouTube and there is no network, it will keep on loading. It will keep on loading until keep on loading. Once network comes in, that file, that document, that pictures will automatically upload. That is the simple analogy. So I don't need to say that this might upload. I will not try to make another alternative of manual process. No, there is no manual process to this. But this is what most of our Nigerian politicians, what they want to cover up, so that many of them who are corrupt will still retain the power. Whether the masses like it or not, whether the people like it or not, whether the electorates want them or not, they want to remain in the offices because what they gain, because of what they gain. Now, that is so. Yesterday we were like, okay, maybe the President Tinubu, would stay. But anyway, most of us, we all expected that he will never do that. Yes, many of us, but we were like, let's just see if he will say, no, go and remove manual process in this election. Make it totally transmission electronically. Then Nigerians would have been so much happy that he passed such bill or he rejected the than this day, because make it make sense. Nigeria is so big, for crying out loud. Many of us use internet. We're using 5G network, and as of 3 or 4 years ago, Nigeria had been recording about 90% or 93% network coverage in most of our communities. Make it make sense. All these kidnappers, bandits, terrorists, many of them use devices in deserts, in forests, places that are not even close to any antenna, but they still make use of their phones. Go to Borno State, go to Adamawa, go to Sokoto, go to Maiduguri, all those northern parts of this country. How do they communicate? They communicate through phones, they communicate through devices, they communicate through the internet, they communicate through the lines, the networks, be it MTN, Glo, Etisalat, Airtel. They make use of all these lines. If they like, let them be in the farthest north. Still, they communicate to any part of the country. They communicate to the people. Now, why should the Nigerian government or the Nigerian lawmakers debate over network glitches during elections? These are the questions we should ask ourselves if we are really being sincere. Election is not something that happens every time. It's not something that happens every time. So, for them to put manual process is quite unfortunate and unacceptable by the Nigerian masses. We Nigerians, we don't accept any manual process in our electoral process. We need it electronically, and the essence of demanding for this electronic transmission is to make everything more true. We believe so much that there are not going to be any issues of network challenges. That is what the masses believe, and that's what the youth believe. And in this country, the youth, we have forces on social media. We have the media. So we know the coverage we are getting on internet. I am live. I'm making use of my network, and network is not disturbing me. Now, let's take it to villages. Most of them receive phone calls. Most of them receive bank alerts. Most of them do POS operations. So, how much more? Just snap an image and upload. That singular act alone, that is what they are debating. That's what they are debating. Well, It's unfortunate that it has come what it is, and and it's unfortunate anyway. But we are now only looking to see how the election is going to be. Anyway, we thank God that first of all, they can now accept any result, any electoral result uploaded to the IRF portal. They cannot acknowledge it in the court as a legal document, which they said that initially it wasn't backed by the law. So now, um, let's try the most we can to make sure that we protect every vote come 2027 by every means against any party that may try to rig. Of course, they must. The greedy ones must try to do things funny, but I believe that the process and the movement won't allow them. We'll try anything possible to oppose any fraudster in the government that is trying to oppose himself upon the people. So, it's unfortunate, but please, just, I'll be back. Let me check something. Um, all right, so sorry. I just went to do something. So as I was saying, the problem still lies on the people, and whether we like it or not, the power lies on the masses, not even on the politicians. But the problem we always have as a people is that most of us are greedy. Most of us are greedy. Greedy in the sense that they would like to collect money to do what they never wanted to do. So because during the election, you will see people collecting money to sell their votes, to vote for somebody they never wish to vote for, simply because somebody gives you 5,000 naira, 10,000 naira, and you will not forget that this money they're giving you, it can't serve you for long. It can only just serve you for either for that day. Probably you take your transportation, eat that day, the money finish, and you will not face another trouble again for the next 4 years before having another election. After these people have given you the money to vote for them, what next? So you see, I mean, are there in number? The politicians, I mean, are there in numbers? The non-government officials are more. We are more in number. Therefore, if the politicians should vote for themselves and then let the masses vote for whom they want, then most of them will retire. But the problem is they're still going to use us against ourselves. That was the problem. That was the problem. Both the youth, the elderly, especially the less privileged ones, people who are in the villages. During election, most of them have not gone to those villages before, but during election, all of them will begin to go there, ask some people to begin to canvass for them. After the election, they will not visit that place again. That's the problem. So, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, first of all, yes, we have signed into law the Electoral Act amendment that electoral results should be transmitted electronically. Then again, we are not satisfied that it has a clause, a proviso, which still includes manual process as an alternative to network failure. And the masses are believing, we are believing that there should be no network glitches. There are no network problems during the election because many places have networks. The problem is not about uploading it. The problem is not about snapping it. You can snap it at the moment and upload it at the RF so that the citizens can view those things in the real time. The real time in the sense that the moment you finish the process, you snap it there. Don't carry it into any office because we have seen things like that where in the polling unit, the results at the polling unit are not the same with what they uploaded because in the one in the polling unit, they have taken it somewhere else. They have manipulated those results, those scores before uploading them. So those problems are what we see when they did not snap it at the point of the voting. When they not snap it there, they have to carry it somewhere else and then do not give the room to isolate themselves from the masses. Because after voting, all of us will guide our votes. But well, we pray that God will help us, God will help Nigerians, and let us do something that is right by ourselves. President of a country represents the people, represents the country in outside world, and we want to have president that we all are proud to be. So, okay, thank you. As I just said, let me bring it to our notice that the federal government of Nigeria has signed into law the Amendment Electoral Act, which includes now it is now legal that we must transmit. But another problem is including the manual aspect of it, which is very wrong, and we are not comfortable with that. But let's move on. 2027 is fast approaching, and We hope that before then, let's see how the movement will be. Please, Nigerians and lovers of Nigerians, good friends of Nigeria, do us favor, wish us well. This our presidential election that is coming. We all need it. We all need to change and bring a government for the people, not tyranny, not tyrants, not heartless people. We want an egalitarian society. Thank you. Stay tuned. In my channel, I'll be bringing us latest updates on Nigerian government and politics and other issues. Stay tuned, okay? Thank you for joining the live. Thank you and see you in my next live. Bye all for now.